Previously on Stay Paid.
This is a special episode. This is episode 350. So we are going to do another questions and answers. Ariel is going to be interviewing us.
How did you meet?
Have you guys ever heard of Tinder?
Yeah. What is one thing about yourself that not a lot of people know about?
I sucked my thumb.
I need 2 more margaritas.
Until I was 12 years old.
12? You both admit to having different personality types. What's it like when you disagree, and how do you resolve the issue?
This is Stay Paid, a sales and marketing podcast on a mission to help you close more deals and retain more business.
This one's a doozy.
Okay.
All right. You guys, I think I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast before.
Let me take a sip of it.
I'm not sure about
take
this.
a sip of the margarita. Get ready. You both admit to having different personality types. What's it like when you disagree, and how do you resolve the issue?
We never disagree. I'm always right.
That's true. I actually said to Ariel earlier, I said, well, usually I just say, okay, Luke, yes, boss.
Compromise.
I don't know. I mean, I think Josh is a processor.
Yep.
So I just can sense, okay, he's processing. Mm-hmm. So I just try to...
It was the funniest thing, sorry to cut you off, but whenever we first started working together, like when you became my manager, it was like, you're like, I can't read you.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Josh, I can vouch for that. Josh is
one of the hardest people to read.
One of the hardest people to read
so
ever.
And guys, you have to understand, like, my profession is reading people.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a salesman.
And I always wondered, like, why do you care? Like, what do you mean? Yeah. If I say something, it's probably what I mean. You don't need to read me. Yeah. And then I realized, oh, wait, no, that's how I
interact.
Yeah.
That's how the world I interacted is reading everything. Yeah.
Well, it's
and
also
sometimes
because
too much. Like,
you're such a processor. So when you're quiet, other people are generally like talking through or working through certain things, or a lot of people do, at least at ReminderMedia. So when you're quiet, it's like, okay, what is going through his head right now?
What is he thinking?
What is
You're
he
like
thinking?
my father-in-law. When I asked my father-in-law to marry Megan, he literally looked at me for probably, I mean, no joke. You think I'm exaggerating? Maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Didn't say a word. Just looked at me. And I was just like, what in the world? But he's a processor. Now, way even more extreme than even you. But you're a processor. To me, I don't know. I think it's like, now I know in our relationship, I just go, okay, he's going to think about it. And then I just go, just tell me what you think. I think we're both maybe too easygoing on, okay, we'll try it your way. Okay, we'll try it your way.
I think so too. I also know that I have learned over the years to trust your gut. Like, even if I don't agree with something that you're saying, we might talk. We certainly hash out some disagreements or going through things. But ultimately, I have learned to kind of tend to trust your gut, because typically you don't have an opinion on something unless you have some sort of thought process or reason for having that opinion. Like, you're not the one who just needs to have an opinion because you're the boss and you feel like you have to have an answer. Like, if you don't know something, you're like, I don't know the answer, but here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, this is what my gut says or whatever.
Whereas I kind of tend to be the opposite. I kind of wait and hold on to what I'm thinking. And then by the time I come to that, I'll vocalize it. But I saw this question ahead of time. I'm kind of glad you asked this one.
See, I did not see any of these questions ahead of time.
I only saw a few of them, so I haven't seen all of them. So I didn't know which one she was going to read. We had like 20 questions.
We knew Josh's personality is a processor, so he needed the
question.
This is so interesting. We were talking before the podcast about Enneagrams. And if anyone out there that listens has taken the Enneagram or has learned anything about the Enneagram, it's really, really an interesting way to understand really what I think that this personality test does differently than other personality tests, because I tend to not roll my eyes, but I tend to be a little about the personality test. What I think it really does is it really identifies people's drives and people's fears more than almost any other personality test. And just to give you a brief overview, there's 9 different Enneagram types, and it's kind of mapped out on a star. So you've got 1 through 9, and then you've got the two numbers next to yours can be like your wing, like certain personalities that you have, and then each one kind of connects to other personality types. And you tend to go to one of those personality types in times of stress, and you tend to go to the other of those personality types in the times of growth. But I pulled specifically because I'm an Enneagram 1, which is considered the perfectionist or the reformer. You are an Enneagram 3, which is considered the achiever, right? So very driven by recognition, accomplishment. Ones are very driven by, getting things right. right? And a sense of like justice in the world.
Yeah, that nails us perfectly.
Yeah.
So here's what each type brings to the relationship. Enneagram 1s and 3s are both competent, serious-minded, and idealistics. We also, along with Enneagram 8, are the hardest working Enneagram. And that's not real. Like I'm not saying.
And Steve, our CEO,
I'm
is
saying
an 8.
it, as a profile.
So sorry, all you 7s and 5s.
Yeah, I'm personally offended.
This is a highly task-oriented relationship with both partners driven to hard work and to be intensely aware when individually and collectively they're not measuring up to their own expectations and high standards. Both types are used to working so hard that they often succeed, garnering admiration from those around them and attaining places of leadership and responsibility. The 1 and 3 combination can be dazzlingly accomplished, high energy, extraordinarily competent, and impressive both individually and collectively. Now, as I'm reading this, go look up any combination of well, I think it's funny, right? Like looking at that, you think about that.
I've never heard that before.
But look up any personality type. Like it sounds like we're singing our praises. No, there are these.
Well, we kind of are, but yes, look it up.
Well, just wait because I've got the inverse of this.
Okay,
real quick. So there are only 2 other equally goal-oriented pairings: 1 with a 1 and a 3 with a 3.
No way. Wait, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So then potential trouble spots or issues. And I think this is relevant, dude. Like I think this is on.
I got to hear it.
If this relationship gets into trouble, it is often over time commitments, lack of emotional attachment to each other, and a creeping sense of competition.
Damn.
Wow. I feel like we just entered therapy.
Yeah.
Further, 1s tend to find 3s too workaholic, pragmatic, and are too concerned with image and their reputations rather than principles. They may also have issues with 3s attempting to reinterpret ethical questions and with not owning up to their personal behavior, including their behavior regarding fidelity in the relationship itself.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Now, wait a minute. This is on the other hand.
There's more?
Yeah. 3s tend to find 1s too rigid and judgmental in their attitudes and inflexible in various areas. And don't tell me you're not agreeing with this. You're not relating to this right now.
Funny.
While 3s generally value 1's organizational ability and ability to get things done, they also feel that 1s are too narrow-minded and methodical, too perfectionistic, and focused on details rather than results. They may have issues with 1s about feeling that they're being stifled or judged, both for their attitudes and for their actions. 3 see 1's critiques of them as nitpicking and time wasting. Eventually, 3 start avoiding 1's, triggering 1's abandonment issues and more anger and criticism.
Dude, that's so crazy.
So I think that they're like, obviously it's not that extreme, but there are points in there. They're like, yeah, that's accurate.
100%, because you think of what we used to say all the time is like, hey, you care too much about the magazine, or you just care too much about it being like, let go of the art. Like that used to be a common theme amongst us.
It also said this, check this out. 1s help 3s to be more grounded and realistic.
Yeah, so true.
3s help 1s stretch themselves and not be so perfectionistic, which is 100%.
Yeah, that's wild.
100%.
Yeah, that's so true.
So crazy.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's the first I've ever heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not an Enneagram guy, meaning like there's people who obsess over it. I've never really read it and done it. I did it in the sense of like they told me, okay, I'm a 3, but I don't know what it means.
We might do a whole episode on it.
I think we should.
Because I read this book, Enneagram in the Workplace, and it talks about like how to connect with people of different types. If you're managing people, it tells you how to manage different types. And if you're reporting to someone, like I read the section on how to report to a 3.
That's crazy. Was it valuable?
It is. It's one of those things where honestly you have to revisit it all the time. When you're reading it, it makes total sense, but you've got to revisit it. You've got to pull pieces out of it to keep reminding yourself, because the whole point of these types is you can always stretch yourself. You say this all the time. You can always stretch yourself to be different, but it's like a rubber band. Yeah. You ultimately always come back to your true nature. Now that doesn't mean your nature can't grow, but you don't go from extreme to extreme. You just go slightly, one direction or the other over time. It takes a long time to reform.
I think I shared this before, but Zillow's leader had everybody take the personality test, and then he had colored blocks that represented each personality, and you had your colored block on your desk.
I actually like that.
So people were constantly reminded of how you like to be talked to, how you interpret information, that type of idea.
Yes, I would like a sign that says, I am a processor. If I don't respond, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you.
I need like a badge
contemplating.
It's like, I'm a 3, and I'm like, what did I do? What did I say, Josh? What did I say? I'm thinking about my image. What did I say?
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
'Cause I'm a 3, and I'm like, what did I do? What did I say? I'm thinking about my image. What did I say? What did I say? I'm thinking about my image. What did I say? What did I say? I'm thinking about my image. What did I say?
No, I'm so glad that you brought that up because that's the main reason I asked this question is it is so important for you to understand not only what your personality type is and how you learn and how you work, but all of the people that you work with generally have a different, I look at our marketing team and our marketing team, there might be like 2 people that have the same or 3 at most, but like our team is so mixed and it's so important to be able to work with other people that are different in the way that they, just work and communicate on a regular
100%.
basis.
Yeah, I think the only type we're missing is a 4. We have no 4s on our team.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, actually, we don't have a 3 on our team, but I consider you part of our team.
Yeah, Luke's, we'll sub him in. All right, we'll get back to this. Let's go to this one. If you could pick another career, what would it be?
Oh, easy.
Easy, yeah. We'd be in a band together, touring the world.
Well, I was going to say, I love that idea, but I was going to say a carpenter.
Wait, not a band?
You should have said them at the same time. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, easy. Carpenter.
Yeah. I would 100% be a musician.
Would you really?
Yeah, 100%.
No.
I believe that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, no doubt.
You guys can be a band and call yourself the Carpenters.
Thought...
Knowing that, like, you're not going to immediately be, like, you still have to do the work.
Yeah.
And go through everything involved in becoming a musician.
That was, like, my dream for the longest time as a kid, from 13 to college.
Well, you're a very good musician.
So
you probably could have moved to Nashville and done like studio work.
If I did not meet my wife, I probably would have ended up on that road.
Wow.
If I did not meet my wife. Yeah. I probably would have. But I play in my church every week. I don't miss it by any means. Like it's not a regret to me.
Yeah.
It's literally just like if I was doing another career, I'd probably do that.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
All right. We are down to our final 2 questions.
Oh my gosh.
These are the nice, wholesome ones of the episode. The first one is, what is your favorite memory that you guys share with each other? Okay, I was going for wholesome, but maybe based on Josh's reaction, I don't know how wholesome this is going to be.
That's a great question.
Favorite memory?
It'd be hard to like pick a favorite.
I'll give, so the first one that popped in my mind, and so I can't say it's my favorite, it's just the one that popped into my mind, is when we went to California and we did the Disrupt tour. And we did
our relationship.
We did White Glove out there. Mm-hmm. Was that the same trip? Or was that a different?
That was a different trip, I think.
That was a different trip. Did we just do Disrupt or did we do something else?
I think we just did
Maybe
Disrupt.
They were back to back. Anyway, there's 2 back-to-back trips. We had never done conferences before. This was like the first time that we went out. You actually were speaking at the Disrupt tour.
Correct.
But I think that we got to know each other better on those trips. And this was also like right around the time we started the podcast.
Yeah, it was.
Too. So it was like kind of all of this was coming together and it was just one of those times through history. You know, you kind of look back at times through history and you think, oh yeah, that was a memorable
That was a changing moment.
That was kind of felt like also, you could feel the energy of what could be.
If you want to get to know people, traveling with people is the greatest way to do it. Like you got to find a way to
go to Riverwalk in Orlando.
Yeah, exactly. Like a retreat.
Do some karaoke.
I was going to say one of my favorite memories with Josh is when we were in a bar in San Antonio and
the piano bar.
Yeah, I think it was a piano bar. And him and our VP of operations, like somehow got challenged to a chugging like contest. And I had seen Nick, our VP of operations, chug a beer before. And this guy's gifted at chugging beers. And they like, I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to chug a beer. And Josh, you thought you were going to compete. And I was like, you're going to get toast.
Yeah,
I mean, what'd you have? You had like a sip down before, and he had the whole thing. Like it was
not
crazy.
Even.
It was
I didn't even not even halfway.
Hilarious. It was so funny.
And then my mouth was just like wide open. I don't know how any human can do that, but
that was great.
That's a skill.
Then, the river walk there. Yeah. That was funny.
The river.
He almost fell in the river.
San Antonio is beautiful.
Was it after the sip of beer? It was like next level.
After my sip of beer. Yeah.
Oh man. I love that. All right. This is the last question we have. And it is something that you guys, I think we've done this on the podcast before, but I love to do these over and over again and see how things have changed, if at all. You guys asked this to all of our guests that come onto the show. If you could go back and tell your younger self anything, what would it be?
Drink more of Dave's margaritas. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll go first on this one because I feel like Luke's going to have like the really impactful one. So we want to make sure that he closes out on the solid answer.
No pressure, Luke.
Oh boy.
My feedback to my younger self, and this is something that I'm learning more and more now, is I would have forced myself or have gotten more into a growth mindset earlier in my career or earlier in my life. Meaning, like, after learning kind of the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, we did a podcast on it. I realized how much of a fixed mindset I've had and how much I continue to still struggle with a fixed mindset. Meaning that most of my belief, because this also goes along with my Enneagram type, but because I am such a black and white kind of person, I look at things from like, it's so funny. My opinion of thing, I think, is the correct thing. So like there's this weird thing that Enneagram's one where it's like they believe that their thought is the right way, right? So like I have this like idea of what I considered just true, and being able to understand like, no, that is so mindset driven from the perspective of if you're constantly looking for areas to grow and constantly looking for or challenges or opportunities as an adventure or an opportunity to get better in general, then you will naturally begin to get better at things. You'll naturally capitalize on more opportunities. You'll have less stress. You'll have less anxiety. You'll have less fear of trying new things. And I think having that type of growth mindset, especially for kids who are coming out of, because I'm looking at my kids right now. I've got a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old, and I kind of see where they struggle with confidence, or they struggle with what they, and even from a mindset perspective of whether it's a positive or like reacting negatively to things automatically. Like my son's really going through this phase where everything's negative versus like, no, you haven't, like, this is like, I'm trying to give him like, hey, no, look at it this way. Cause if you didn't do this, then you wouldn't be able to get that. And I think coming out of that, entering into, the scary real world, having a growth mindset is one of, I think, the most powerful things, because all of your actions and all of your opportunities and everything that you get into flow from that.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's how we close the episode. Okay, here's my advice to my younger self. Invest in Bitcoin. I'm just
Well, that's true. With a growth mindset, you would have invested in
I would have invested in Bitcoin. I mean, it's probably changed over time. I would say that, one of the things, because I'm an Enneagram 3 and we're on that Enneagram kick, is your self-image is huge, right, to you, and you're an achiever and all that stuff. And I think I would tell myself, look, your self-esteem doesn't come from how others esteem you. It comes from how you esteem yourself. And, your confidence, one of the things that Ed Milet has taught me is that your confidence comes from the promises that you keep to yourself. And I have always struggled. Most people see me as a really disciplined person, but I've always struggled greatly with actual like discipline and not procrastinating and all this stuff. And that's probably why I'm so hard on myself for it. And, I would just tell myself that, look, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of you. It matters what you think of yourself. First, get right with yourself, and then you can, do everything you want to do. So it's so important to get right with yourself, not to get right for other people or, even through other people.
Powerful, Luke Akery. Thank you, Ariel.
And invest in Bitcoin.
Invest in Bitcoin. Definitely buy some Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And some properties sooner.
Yeah.
Go back to 2000 and what was it, 9? I know the bubble was 08. Go back to 9 and 10.
Dude, I think 3 years ago, I wish I would have bought more properties.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Real estate appreciates.
So much for listening. It has been a blast recording all these episodes and getting to really kind of build a community.
It's amazing.
The number of people that we hear from that listen to the podcast, it really does keep us going, and we love to hear that. So if you want to let us know how we're doing, you can head on over to applepodcast.com, drop us a 5-star review, leave your comment. Never get tired of seeing those. Plus, we'll read those here on the show. You can go to staypaidpodcast.com for the show notes and the video of this episode. And if you're looking for ways to help out, the best way is to tell a friend and share this episode with a colleague, or share it on your social media. So, talked a little bit about my children in this episode. Like I mentioned, I have a son.
Yes.
His name is Ryan. He asked me the other day for a bookmark. A bookmark. I burst into tears. He's 11 years old and he still doesn't know my name is Josh.
Oh, I see.
That literally did take me a while.
Like
it might be the margarita.
You asked me for a book, comma, Mark. Wow. That was a good one.
There we go.
All right. If you would get a hold of me,
guys, we promise the next 350 episodes will have better jokes. We promise.
That's like my favorite.
Wait, can you tell the pig one?
Okay. What?
This was good.
Okay.
All right. What do you call a pig with 4 eyes? Now, Ariel and Luke already heard this, so they can't answer.
I think this is our favorite one.
A pig.
Gets me every time. It's good.
It's really good.
You can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram. We're at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree, and special shout out to our producer, Ariel.
Wow,
for great moderating, awesome. I don't know how many episodes.
Producer and now social media manager. I don't know that we've talked about this on the show.
Talk about
promoting through the ranks.
I have been promoted.
Yeah, it's amazing. So no, it's been awesome. Really appreciate everybody for listening. My action item for you is continue to listen. Don't let us down. No, share it with a friend. Continue to listen. If you like this, please give us a review. Good, bad, or ugly. We prefer the good ones, but good, bad, or ugly. We really appreciate you guys. Remember the difference between top producers and mediocre producers is top producers take action. Take action on that today.